at Cedar Point for day number 2. Yesterday, I forgot the thing to set up my mic, so there's no vlog from yesterday. But we're back today. I'll explain what we did yesterday later on, but today we just got off Raptor, a really nice inverted coaster by Volger and Maviyard. One of the best ones, probably better than Banshee. I might come back later to get another ride to declare it better than Banshee, but I definitely think it's more intense than Banshee. It doesn't even really have a rattle, really. It's not that bad. And then now we're going to ride Blue Streak, the wooden coaster. I don't think it will be as good as the Racer, but it will probably be at that little level of a decent little wooden coaster. I've heard it's pretty rough, but sometimes people say it has airtime, so we're about to figure that out. See you. And then we'll probably go ride Gatekeeper. I'll see you after Blue Streak. At Cedar Point for day number 2. Yesterday, I forgot the thing to set up my mic, so there's no vlog from yesterday. But we're back today. I'll explain what we did yesterday later on, but today we just got off Raptor, a really nice inverted coaster by Volger and Maviyard. One of the best ones, probably better than Banshee. I might come back later to get another ride to declare it better than Banshee, but I definitely think it's more intense than Banshee. It doesn't even really have a rattle, really. It's not that bad. And then now we're going to ride Blue Streak, the wooden coaster. I don't think it will be as good as the Racer, but it will probably be at that little level of a decent little wooden coaster. I've heard it's pretty rough, but sometimes people say it has airtime, so we're about to figure that out. See you. And then we'll probably go ride Gatekeeper. I'll see you after Blue Streak. Val Raven, the B&M dive coaster. We just got off Blue Streak. It is pretty rough ride. Not as good as the Racer. It's definitely one of the worst wooden roller coasters I've ridden. It was kind of rough and it didn't really have any airtime. The lines aren't too bad here early at Cedar Point, but I think they'll get worse as the day goes on. Now that I'm waiting in line, it's about 15-20 minutes probably to go. We're going to talk about what happened yesterday. Okay, so yesterday started off with a ride on Iron Dragon, the aero suspended coaster, which is kind of boring, kind of just meanders around a little bit. Not near as good or as intense as that is. One of my least favorite roller coasters I've ridden. Ranks towards the bottom of my rankings now is Rougarou, which is the B&M floorless coaster. It's decently intense, has some good elements, but it is pretty rough and it's full of headbanging. Then we went on to ride Steel Vengeance, the greatest roller coaster ever built, a perfect 10 out of 10. One of the greatest roller coasters I've ever ridden. Full of ejector airtime and intense inversions. Great whip in the third row, which is way better than the back row. And also, after Steel Vengeance, the first time we went and rode Maverick, an amazing intimate blitz coaster. Super intense, good whip, one of the best coasters I've ever ridden. After this, we're probably going to go ride Gatekeeper and Wild Mouse to basically finish up the Cedar Point lineup. Should be pretty good. I'll see you after the ride on Val Raven, the B&M dive coaster that opened back in 2016. I got a front row ride, and the drop was good. I'll admit that. I'll admit the ride was pretty good. The first drop was pretty good. However, it didn't really do anything after the first drop, which is the biggest issue of that. The biggest issue of Val Raven is that it doesn't do anything after the drop. Like, hanging over that beyond 90-degree drop is pretty nice, but after that, it doesn't really do anything for me. So, it was pretty decent. Doesn't rank very high, not going to make the top 10. Might just be inside the top 15. It's not as good as anything like Raptor or Steel Vengeance or Maverick. It's nowhere near any of those rides. It's kind of just mid. Go ride Wild Mouse. The Zamperla spinning mouse ride. New credit. Might have a decently long line, considering it does not have the best capacity in the world. And considering it is one of the only family-friendly roller coasters that Kings at Cedar Point has to offer. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Oh, there's Gatekeeper. As he enters the Gatekeeper, and then there's their giant Frisbee Max Air. They both look decent rides. Get both of those done. And earlier, when I was talking about yesterday, I forgot to talk about Magnum XL 200 and Millennium Force. Magnum is just painful fun. The ending is pretty insane, and that 200 plus foot drop, that less than 200 foot drop is like 189 feet. Pretty good. One of the best rides here at Cedar Point. Definitely makes the top 10. Probably isn't in the top 5 though. And one Force didn't really do anything. I think it's below Magnum for me. It's fast. That's all I really know. That's all I really got out of Millennium Force is it's fast. It wasn't super forceful. However, it was cold and windy, so that might have affected the ride. I'm not really sure, but I think we might go ride Gatekeeper and Wild Mouse. And that's pretty much all the coasters I have to get here, and then go get some real re-rides of Steel Vengeance and Maverick. Gatekeeper, the B&M wing coaster that's right at the front of Cedar Point. It looks really nice from off the ride. It's one of the better rides here at Cedar Point. Definitely the best wing coaster I've ever ridden. I definitely would ride it again. Definitely better than Valraven. Valraven was not even that great. Probably Gatekeeper is definitely in my top 10 to 15, probably around like the 12 to 10 would probably be where it would rank. And then we're going to ride a Wild Mouse, the Zamperla spinning mouse, which I've heard some decent things about, but it isn't the best ride out there.
Keep all parts of your body inside the car at all times. Remain seated facing forward in an upright position and pull out for the bottom of the station. Keep all parts of your body inside the car at all times.
Wild Mouse is Zamperla spinning mouse. And it's a pretty good Wild Mouse coaster, better than the ones I've ridden in the past. My favorite Wild Mouse got the cheese car, the best car on Wild Mouse. Definitely the most interesting car. It's a decent theme for a Cedar Fair park. There it is right there. Because it's like the mice chasing the cheese. The cars are nice. It's a cool looking ride. Definitely not the best ride here. You have rides like Steel Vengeance and Maverick. But it's still a decently fun little Wild Mouse coaster. It's good for families. And it's one of the only family coasters that Cedar Point offers. So it's a great addition for the park. And I can't wait for Top Thrill 2 to open from Zamperla next year. And Wild Mouse is not broken down today, so it's a good thing. Extra update. Here's the construction of the spike. You can see it goes underneath the old station roof. And the top hat is basically completely painted. There's just some more gray that needs to be put in. And then here is part of this spike. This is a really cool looking coaster. Can't wait to ride it in 2024. Massive Top Thrill 2. And you can see Smoke the Competition. The theming that was put in this area before we knew the coaster's theme and everything else that was going to happen. You also can see the finish line is in place over there. And on the other side, you can see the theming of the ride. Steel Vengeance for the third time in the last 2 days, and that ride is absolutely insane. Back row ride again on Steel Vengeance is not as good as row 3, but in any row that ride is too good. Like, I don't understand how every park in the United States does not have one of those by now. Every Cedar Fair park needs one. And on Cedar Fair, I'm buying 5 of those for next season because we need them. We need more of those. Those rides are so good. RMC hybrids are the best coasters on the planet. Oh, God. I just can't wait to ride more of those. Like Iron Gwazi. Like Steel Vengeance. More and more. Just getting the credits and riding all those amazing just from RMC. And it's really on what to do for the RMC Son of Beast layout. And that will be combining the elements of Steel Vengeance, Iron Gwazi, and Air Force One. Make the world's best roller coaster. And all I'm going to say is that coaster will be amazing. if it is built, because Kings Island really needs that hybrid coaster. And also, I will have 2 videos out on Steel Vengeance in the next 2 weeks. One will be about the history of Steel Vengeance, from trash to treasure, from Mean Streak to Steel Vengeance, and then my full review of Steel Vengeance. I just spent 2 days at Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio, and my phone was about to die, so I couldn't vlog anymore. So I'm going to tell you how my days ended at Cedar Point. The second day, I wanted to go ride Maverick to end the day. However, Maverick was closed for an extended amount of time, and there was still quite a bit of time left in the day. So I went over to Rougarou to get another ride on the B&M Floorless. It's a decent little coaster with some decent forces. However, it is insanely rough and causes a lot of headbanging. This might have just been my experience, but it definitely was not my favorite coaster at Cedar Point. After that, I went and got a ride on my favorite B&M Invert Raptor. This ride is insanely intense and is way better than the newer inverts like Banshee because of the overall tighter elements that make the ride feel 10 times more intense than it is. Bye guys, see you all next time. What are your thoughts on Cedar Point?